What is up, guys? So today the CW released a new poster for Crisis on Infinite Earths, basically the second part or the endgame of the Crisis, and the poster is something I will talk about in this video, but there's another thing that we got from the CW as they renewed a couple shows in the Arrowverse for another season. I'll be talking about both of those things in this video, starting with the poster, the endgame poster for Crisis on Infinite Earths. Also, keep in mind that I literally had no time to edit this video. I just had to record it and just put this one picture of the poster up, so that's going to be there for the entirety of the video. But keep in mind the fact I didn't have any time to edit this video. With that in mind, let's get right into it. Now, like I said, I think this poster looks really good, but it has so many issues in... So this is the poster for Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2, and already I would say it's a great poster for the crossover. Oliver is right there in the middle. This was the biggest problem people had with the last poster, which was that Batwoman was right there in the middle. It was really weird. Batwoman is not as significant as certain other characters, and putting her right in the middle of the crossover, even though I think it did fit the aesthetic of her cape, like going behind all those heroes, it's still very, very unusual and fairly disrespectful to the more important characters that she was right there in the middle, and it was definitely a little bit controversial, so I'm glad they changed that here so that Oliver, arguably the most important character in this crossover, is smack dab in the middle of this poster. And not only that, but this is technically our first official look at the Spectre, as Oliver as the Spectre, and it looks pretty interesting. It basically looks like Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow without the mask, and his hood turned into more of a cloak design, which I think could look really cool. You could very clearly see that he's still wearing his costume, his season 8 costume, like right under the cloak. It's clearly still there. So, I mean, it definitely wouldn't be hard to incorporate the Spectre's design into Green Arrow's costume. I mean, their designs are fairly similar with the green hood, and also, I mean, from this first look, and also from the, like, obscure, blurred out first look that we saw in the trailer, I'm pretty sure the Spectre will probably look pretty cool in this crossover. Weird, and I feel like that's something people are going to complain about this poster as well. But aside from that glaring issue and a couple other things that I'm going to talk about, this is certainly a very cool poster for the second half of the end game of the Crisis. Now, I definitely appreciate Oliver being right there in the middle. I also definitely appreciate the Anti-Monitor's inclusion in this poster, and also his pose that we see here as he has these hands over the multiverse. Basically, it looks really, really cool. He wasn't in the previous poster, which I guess makes sense, since he wasn't really in the first 3 parts of the crossover, and he's going to have a much bigger role in these last 2 parts. Obviously, he appeared in the first 3 parts, but he definitely had a much more, he had a lot less appearances. It made more sense to put the Monitor there instead. I do appreciate those things. That as a whole, I do think this poster looks really cool. However, this poster has a lot of issues that I would certainly change about it, and one of the issues has to do with something that they showed in the trailers as well, which is basically spoiling things, spoiling the fact that characters who aren't currently alive are coming back to life, which is something that I really, really wish they would stop doing. They did it back with the Leah New explosion, just straight up spoiling characters like Mr. Terrific and even Felicity Smoke are not going to die either through posters or through announcements of their appearing in other shows. It was really unusual to just get rid of that cliffhanger completely and get rid of the tension with that cliffhanger with these announcements and posters. And now here, it's basically like Endgame. If in Endgame, you have this poster with all of the heroes that are still alive, but then there's also the other heroes in the background that are not alive anymore, and they're there spoiling the fact that they're appearing in this crossover, especially when you have characters who weren't even in the crossover up until this point, like we see here with Wild Dog specifically. I really don't like that, and honestly, I think this poster should have only been the 7 Paragons, the Spectre, and the Anti-Monitor, just those 9 characters and nobody else, and I think it would have worked a lot better as a poster for the next 2 parts while not spoiling anything from the crossover and the conclusion to that cliffhanger. But also, the trailers really shouldn't have shown shots with Black Lightning, Killer Frost, and Heatwave as they did, but that's something that I really don't like about this poster, but it's honestly not the only thing. Now, along with those characters who are currently dead being on the poster, which is something that I absolutely don't like, there's also the problem of certain characters not wearing their current costumes. This is true for Wild Dog, and it's also true for Pariah. Wild Dog is wearing his Season 6 costume, which technically is his newest costume, but he's gone back to wearing a Season 5 costume in Season 7 and 8, and it's a much, much better costume, and I'm pretty sure he's wearing that costume in the Crisis on Infinite Earths episodes that we're going to see him in, which I feel like is only going to be part 5. So why is he wearing a Season 6 costume, and why was he on this poster not only with the Season 6 costume but at all? Because he's currently dead. It's weird to put him on the poster, but regardless of that, using the wrong costume is so weird to me. Similarly, Pariah is Nash Wells at this point. He's wearing his Nash Wells costume, which maybe he'll appear as that character, as that version of the character in these two parts, but I mean, his current costume is not only way cooler, much like Wild Dog's, but also it's his current costume, so why not put him in that costume here? It seems like they just told certain people, or the editors or the designers of this poster, to just look up these characters in their, I guess, archive of photo shoots that they took for posters and use those characters here. They used Wild Dog, they got Nash Wells, but they used their previous costumes, and it really, really bothers me, maybe a lot more than it should, because it's just a poster, it's relatively meaningless, but it still really bothers me that happened. Also with John Jones, the fact that he's in his human form, which he was in the other poster, really don't like that either. And also the fact that even though I don't want them to confirm that certain characters are back, neither of the Supermen are in this poster, and we know that at least one of them is going to have at least an equal role to the likes of Dreamer, Wild Dog, and Alex Danvers. So why isn't he on the poster? So yeah, I definitely have a lot of issues with the poster, and I didn't even mention the fact that Supergirl and Batwoman are right there in the front, overshadowing the Flash, which is weird. So yeah, I don't love this poster. I think it looks cool, but it has a lot of issues. But at least we got to see this cool look at the Anti-Monitor, but also Oliver as the Spectre right there in the middle. One last thing to talk about is the tagline of the poster, which says, "Their worlds will never be the same." This is obviously referring to or going off of the Psychopirate quote where he says, "Worlds will live, worlds will die, worlds will never be the same." He was, at this point, wrong about that first part, worlds will live, since all the worlds are dead at this point, but he was right about the fact that worlds not only die, but also, in this next poster, he will be right where he says worlds will live. I don't know which worlds will die necessarily, but I do know that probably it's saying that their world will never be the same is obviously talking about the merger of universes, which will most likely be happening in this very episode, which is either episode 4 or more likely 5, where Earth 1, Earth 38, and Black Lightning's universe are all combined into one universe where all these shows are going forward taking place on the same world. The multiverse will probably still exist later because there are certain DC properties that I feel like Warner Bros. Just doesn't want to get rid of just yet, like the Smallville universe, even the 1989 Batman universe, or even the 1966 Batman universe, where they still can't make money off of this thing, so why would they get rid of them for just this crossover? So the multiverse will still be around going forward, especially with the likes of Titans, which has a season coming up, but the question is which universes will die and which universes will merge. Based off this poster and the tagline, "Their worlds," it's probably referring to just the universes of the characters on this poster, which would be Earth 1 for the Earth 1 characters, Earth 38 for Supergirl and the Supergirl characters, and Black Lightning's universe, which it does seem is probably Earth 73. So that's it for the poster, but there is one more piece of news from the CW that does definitely, So that is it for the poster, but there is one more bit of news that pertains to the Arrowverse in terms of the TV show. So Arrow is ending with season 8, but literally every other Arrowverse show is being renewed for another season. And I mean the main Arrowverse shows, obviously Smallville is not getting another season, but The Flash is renewed for season 7, Supergirl is renewed for season 6, Legends of Tomorrow is renewed for season 6, Black Lightning is renewed for season 4, and Batwoman is renewed for season 2, and that, along with the likes of Green Arrow and the Canary season 1, Superman and Lois season 1, and I guess Stargirl season 1, although that will be a lot more disconnected, will be what the Arrowverse looks like in the next season. I'm going to guess that the 2020 to 2021 season will contain The Flash season 7, Supergirl season 6, Legends of Tomorrow season 6, Black Lightning season 4, Batwoman season 1, Superman and Lois season 1, and Green Arrow and the Canary season 1. Certainly way more Arrowverse shows during one season than ever before, beating out this year the 2019 to 2020 season of 6 shows with Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and if you want to count it, Black Lightning as well. As next year you get rid of Arrow but replace it with 2 new shows, Green Arrow and the Canaries and Superman and Lois. You have 7 shows, which, like I said, way more than previous seasons, or I guess 1 more than this season. But I will say I'm not exactly surprised about these renewals. The CW really only ever cancels a show if either the people behind the show want to stop creatively, or maybe the main actor wants to leave, which is, I feel like, the only reason they canceled Arrow. The ratings for Arrow are absolutely abysmal when it comes to ratings on national television. However, I don't think the CW cares about that. I feel like they make more money on their deals with like subscription services like Netflix specifically, since these shows like The Flash, Supergirl, and a lot less so, but also Arrow, are fairly popular on Netflix. Like The Flash, I feel like, is one of the most popular shows on Netflix, so the CW probably makes quite a lot of money off of the Netflix deals, and a lot less so on the ratings on their channel or things like that. So even though their ratings have dropped down significantly every single year, the shows just keep on getting renewed unless, like Arrow, the actor wants to leave. With that in mind, though, that's what the Arrowverse will look like next year, unless there's yet another show that they confirm for next year, which I do highly doubt. And that's also my opinions on the poster for Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Endgame part of the Crisis. But let me know your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.